All right, guys, we've got to get back in. We're a little bit behind now. Next up for the chat, we have from the Department of Social Development, the Deputy Director, Mr. Peter Netshipale. He's going to chat to us about, well, the overview of the non-profit organizations, as you can see. So welcome, Peter.
I I used to be a pastor, so that's why I'm sitting behind the pulpit. Are you going? Thanks very much for the opportunity to come to Western Cape, specifically Cape Town. We met with the animal rescue colleagues and we chat. Then they said, you, as a department, you must come here. So I am from government, the Department of Social Development. My coming here, I'm coming here as a friend, as a colleague, but also as a guide or advisor in terms of this area of non-profit organization. I want to say I was so thrilled when we met with the, yes, in the foyer in Cape Town, that we need as a government to begin to look at the issue of the animal protection. We have been registering NPOs as part of government responsibility for a long time. But it becomes to dawn that you're doing the job, but you don't exactly what each one is doing. And the interest, when they came and presented, I said, "Woo, I think it's one of the areas that government needs to begin to look at this. And in terms of support and in terms of making sure that you are looked after. There are so many people that, so many things that we are looking after. Not so well though, from government point of view. You can read the newspapers, you'll see. But the little we can do to make sure that things work well, we do. So I am the Deputy Director General for the Department of Social Development. One area that we do is registering of NPOs. You know, if you go to the database, you see if you go to the website. It's not the only thing I do. There's so many other government. We are organizing 2 branches. There are so many things that we do. HIV/AIDS, community development, sustainable livelihood, youth development. But this area is an area that is protected because it's done by law. We manage the NPO Act. The NPO Act was promulgated in 1997, signed by Mandela. It was repealing some section of the Fundraising Act of 1978, which created an opportunity for any voluntary association who wants to associate in terms of the Constitution, Section 18, Bill of Rights, that once you come and you want to associate, you could develop a constitution and you fill that form, then it will give you a number. Then you are a legal entity as a voluntary. You could also be a company called a non-profit company. But if you want to become a non-profit organization for the only purpose of public benefit organization, you register as an NPO also. Then you get what you call PBO status, public benefit organization status, so that you should not pay tax for things that you do, which you are doing for the people or for the animals. You also register with SARS. I think it's section something. There is also section 18A, which when somebody donates money for you, you give them a certificate so that you should not pay tax. So yesterday we were discussing about this in the Northwest. We also work with all others, Home Affairs, FIC, the Fiscal Intelligence Commission. We also work with SARS, Anti-Terrorism, NPA for money laundering, and also we work with the Hawks, because there's a lot, as much as some other people are doing a lot of nice things, there's a lot of, the same as happens in government, there's also a lot of things happens somewhere else. So there's a lot of things that is taking place. But this is how I'm going to present it. So I'm presenting as the owner of the database. You better look at me nice, because if you don't, I can deregister you tomorrow. Take you out of the register. I just want to give you an overview. This won't be so comprehensive. You will find some of the things, you won't find yourself well there, because we classify you under the UN classification. But we just want to give you an overview of the registration, the register as it stands in Pretoria. Registration is only done in Pretoria, in the corner, Pretoria and Postman. And sometimes the services are not so good. You will phone 20 times. The phones are not working, or the website is down. You send the reports, we don't receive it. So those are some of the things that we're dealing with. But all in all, we are there. But more importantly is that as government, we appreciate all that NGO are doing, especially the issue of animal. This is a very nice area, because remember, animals are not like human beings who can run away, talk, whatever. And there's a lot of abuse there. When we were discussing, I realized this is the area that we need to begin to look at and make it a special. We thought of SPSA, but there are so many other NGOs that we have. So we acknowledge, if you look at the Department of Social Development, most of the services that are done there are done by non-profit organizations. Early childhood development, the creches, old age home, victim empowerment, adoptions. So you are doing a very lot of work for government, and to ensure that government is catered for in terms of the looking after the people. We know there's a lot of issues, but what becomes a problem is this issue of the social ills. I don't know if you have found them in the animal area, but amongst the humans, there's an issue of the social ills that are so much, especially in this area. It could have a rippling effect, negative, into also the animals. Animal cruelty, what you show us say. That there's so much things that government won't be able to do everything alone. It needs people, men and women, who says they can do something for us. And with that, as government, we appreciate it. I've mentioned the NPO Act 97 of 1997 gives us the mandate and the functions that we need to do. It repeals some of the section of the Fundraising Act and provide a place where NPO need to belong. Actually, you should be knowing me by name and surname if we were doing what is supposed to be done. going out and talking to you like I'm talking. Had I not met with, they wrote to the department and they suffered. They wrote and phoned and nobody came back until I said, I'm coming to Cape Town. And then we met. But the role, we are the custodian of all the NPO Act. We should be doing more. We also mandated by law in Section 5 of the NPO Act that we should, when you have got problems and you want to form an NPO or you want to do something, you have got the right to phone national and say, come over, I don't know how to do an NGO. Can you teach me what to do? So that section says we will, in our endeavor, we will develop programs, but we will also support you to register and to stay registered. And also ensure that the standard of governance within you is maintained and improved. We also have to, the Act also says we need to liaise with other organs of state. We call all government departments. Most of the time we call them into the intergovernmental and we said, look after your NPOs. We recently requested statistics on who is funded. It's appalling. No wonder there's public outcry. It's never dawned that there are animal NPOs that need to be looked after. Between the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Environment, something needs to be done because we need to look after you. The mere fact that you register is not all, is that there shall be continuous talking in terms of are we thriving? Because the Act says we create an environment in which non-profit organization can flourish. Flourishing meaning you will be informed, you will be taught, you will be taken care of. We will look for resources for you. Together with the Minister of Finance, we can look for resources or the donors and say this section. Is the role of government to do that? Government is not created to eat money. It's created to create a conducive environment for everyone to do the work for the sake of the people that are there. So that's something that we need to do. And also, there is something taking place, and I hope we will be able to invite you. The President is going to launch, to have a social sector summit, which are non-profit organization, the other ones is undefinable. So a section of that, I will hope that you will form part of the section to say, yeah, we are part. So that when we develop an action plan, what we need to do, you are part and parcel of this. The department also, once you are registered, you are supposed to now say, I belong to the department. And you also ensure that you report. Let's just check how many NPOs do we have in the system. As by the 31st July, we have got 216,000 NPO registered on the database. This is from 1998 March. 2.9 of those are trust. I told you, you go to the Magister and develop a trust, but if you want to be a public benefit organization, especially bigger companies make money and they want monies to go to for community work, they establish a trust. They come and register also as a non-profit organization. The majority of all the NPOs that we have, by definition, They are voluntary association. People that goes and say, we 5 of us who want to have an NPO, then you develop a constitution, which is, and then these NPOs are distributed. For now, don't look at the bottom one, look at the top part. They are registered. We can focus on Western Cape. I don't know where is that thing, pointer. Is in the middle. Oh, this one. You can look at the Western Cape. Don't look at the others. We will talk others later on. Now, the registration, as we register, that system is very good. We adopted a system. Let me go to the... it's not going. I wanted to... How we came with the classification of NPOs. We classify these NPOs in terms of the UN. It's an international standard of how NPO need to be clustered. They are clustered in terms of culture and recreation. And under that, there's subheadings. They clustered under education and research, health, social science. You are clustered here. You are under here, under environment. Development and housing. And this is the distribution of all. Now, if you look at environment, can you go back? Yeah. If you go to environment, can you see? It's only 1% of that. Only 1%. What is 1%? Is this one? This is the total of all total environment that are registered in the country. The majority of all that are registered are social services. Not because they are in the Department of Social Services. There's a lot of categories under social services. We're talking about ECD, and that is followed by development and housing, which is very vaguely, you know the churches there? Any pastor who are here, they're here. We were with them yesterday. Some churches register. Immediately they send a report and it goes through not the Hawks, the FIC. Then they will write to us and say, gee, they say, there's something happening here. You know, a church will be established somewhere, I won't say where, and then it's started. Then in their bank account, they won't report to me even after 2 years. But what you see is there will be 150 million in the bank. So the FIC picks it up. They pick it up and phone us and say, can you check the number of this NPO? And we said, no, it's a church. And they will, yeah, there are about 160 of those. Yeah, you can see. They do issues. So those are some of the churches. And I think we've jumped some. Now, let's go to the... Now, if you look at the environment NPOs, they are classified with environment sector NPOs. There is animal protection. Can you see? It's very little. 754 countrywide. Environment 1.4. Research. So they're classified under environment as such. Now, this is the area that we are interested. Western Cape on the environment is 221. And then these two The environment is 221. You can see there. The other one is animal one. Now, you can drill down in terms of how this is organized, up to the level where you see their organizations. Now, there's one thing that we need to look at, which is very important, is the issue of the issue here, non-compliance. And I think we should look at it. In the environment is 2,266, 1,527 are not complying. What does it mean? It means that NPOs are registered, yes, we can see, but they don't report back. Meaning the following things happens. There is issue of governance that's not taking place. Integrity. We don't know what's the problem. There's a lot. This is close to 50%. I think it's 46 or 47% of the total. Meaning out of 754 environment, I didn't go deeper to that. I should have shown how many. It means you are not complying as such. So what it means is that NGO, once you are registered, 21 months later, we give you amper 2 years to organize yourself. First report must come to the department 21 months after registration. And it's a narrative report plus finances, whether funded or not funded. Just there's a form that you fill and send back. If you can't fill the form, you just write a pager and say, this is what we were doing. The compliance out of the total of 216,000 NPOs, 136,000 are not reporting. They haven't. And of those, 38,000 of those, we don't know whether they exist. It's a briefcase NPO because it's easy. We don't know. Now, this gives us a very serious problem in terms of how we should do. It might mean that we don't have the capacity to do the work, or you are not you are not aware what is supposed to happen. Now, we then need to make sure that as a department, we come down and do these programs. We have got draw shows that we do. If you feel that in your area there's a need for information, that DSD must, you can write. You write to the DG to come there. We do NPO capacity building, compliance enhancement, NPO audit, and the forums. This is one of the forums that I like. You better be organized as a sector of the animal protection. And you say, we are not like ECD, we are better. There's a lot of things that we do, but let me then go to what government and other entities need to do, their roles and responsibility. NPOs, once you are formed as a sector which is animal rights or animal welfare, it's important that you need to organize yourself as a sector. It is also important that you could have what you call a networking organization. What do I mean? If you look at all other NGOs, there's child and welfare. You know about it, ne? It's a network in the whole of the country. There's one big one in Pretoria. Everyone report to them. There is also ECD Congress. There's also victim empowerment networking organizations. In the olden times, there were Sangoko, Sakono, but it's better to be organized based on that. So the animal protection, one of the things that we do is that departments were supposed to lead their own sector NPOs and guide them. In other area, you register as an ECD from our side. Once you register, for you to begin to take care of children, you must be accredited first. The places, the people. So it is in that context that I think, for example, we are doing which specific issue, which is animal protection. But I saw a lot of dogs there. The animal protection. You can then say, in our animal protection, we've got this networking organization that we belong to. We will make sure that we deal with that. The Act prescribes that the department and the entities might take reasonable responsibility to create conducive environment for you. Or you create it yourself and you demand it to be done. Now, and the role of government, therefore, is to guide, to lead, and they create those networking organizations so that they thrive well. I was talking about the issue of the ECD, old age homes and others. So, in the area of the animal rights, the animal, you talk about animal welfare, there's a need that should happen. You become, I think, it's an area that I'm now repented, convinced. I was looking at human rights. Now I think the animal rights is the area which is so neglected. That we will need, together with, from the Department of Social Development and the other department, we will talk to your department. Something needs to be done because it's the area, indeed, we're talking about children, older persons, us, but very little on that. So we must allow networking entities and networking organizations to exist. And we must also make sure that such network organizations are resourced so that the capacity could be given to each one. You can't train yourself. You need to get capacity. There's a lot of things that SPCA was talking about. Information. We need a lot of information all the time, always, so that whatever we do, we are aware what needs to be done. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we want to commit ourselves towards us working together. You can trouble us a lot, like your colleagues have troubled us. That's your job, and we need to make sure that we look after yourself. There are certain things that we said we will do as a team, and then such gatherings were supposed to be paid by government for you to come and talk. But see, you have done it yourselves. Can you give a hand to yourself that you have done well? You needed to voice issues. Government provides solutions because we have got the taxpayers' money with us. You need to voice areas that need to be done, and then you bring innovation. We can give you the money, or we can take you closer to where the money is. There's a lot of investment that we had that is there. We were asking the president, where is these billions? Where are they sitting? And they said, where is it exactly? Because we know where it's needed. This is where it's needed, so that you could be able to deal with what you're supposed to do. So this journey, through them, we know now there's next steps that we need to do. And as PCA, there's next step that we are supposed to deal with, so that come 12 months, this is where I started, this is where we will be, and we will see what within our powers, what we can do. It's not only to do what you have, but also to coordinate and partner with people so that we can, you can get what you want out of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I wanted to tell you, that we know now that you exist. And to also announce that from the 1st of April, those NPOs that do not comply, we are going to go into, there's a box, NPO, highlight it, tick it, you press a button, delete it. We are going to delete it. We are in a campaign called Know Your Status. And I'm sure you will organize. We will reorganize again different here, gardens, inlands, Malmesbury. We can come back to tell you, know your status, check your NPOs, and we will make sure that you are looked after. Thank you very much.